They laughed when I walked into my brother's engagement party, not loud laughter, the kind that cuts deeper. Whispered jokes. Side-eye glances, someone muttered, she probably borrowed that dress. Another said, don't worry, she'll disappear like always. What they didn't know was that every paycheck in that room had my signature behind it. My name is Evelyn Carter, and for most of my life, I was invisible by design. Arrived at the engagement venue alone, a rooftop ballroom overlooking downtown Chicago. Glass walls, golden lights, champagne flutes clinking like tiny bells of celebration. My younger brother, Mark, was finally engaged. He looked happy. That was the only reason I came. The moment I stepped inside, conversations softened. Heads turned. Then smiles tightened. I wore a simple navy dress. Clean lines. No logos. No sparkle. The kind of outfit that never begs for attention. I learned long ago that loud success attracts noise, and I preferred silence. Mark's fiancée, Vanessa, spotted me first. Her smile was polite, but her eyes flicked down and back up, measuring. Judging Evelyn, she said, air-kissing my cheek. You made it. As promised, I replied. Around us stood her friends, consultants, managers, people who introduced themselves by job titles. I recognized several faces immediately. Not from social circles, but from quarterly reports. A tall man in a gray suit leaned toward another and whispered, not quietly enough, isn't she the sister who never did anything with her life? They chuckled. I pretended not to hear, though the words landed like cold rain. I'd heard variations of that sentence my entire life. Growing up, Mark was the golden one. Popular. Confident. Always center stage. I was the quiet sister who left home at 18 and rarely came back. What they didn't know was why.as the evening went on. The comments grew bolder. So Evelyn, one woman asked, sipping champagne, what do you do these days? I smiled. I work. She laughed. Oh. Like freelance stuff? Something like that. Another man chimed in, Mark told us you're very private. Guess that means no big career. Mark heard it. I saw his shoulders tense. But he said nothing. That hurt more than the jokes. Then came the toast. Vanessa's father raised his glass, praising ambition, success, people who really make something of themselves. His eyes flicked toward me for just a second, dismissive. I felt something shift inside my chest. Not anger. Not embarrassment, decision. I hadn't planned to say anything tonight. I came to celebrate my brother, but when you spend your whole life being underestimated, eventually, silence becomes a lie, and lies have a way of demanding correction. Dinner was served, and with it, confidence, wine loosened tongues. The jokes sharpened. I sat at a round table with 6 people, all mid-level executives from Harrison and Cole Solutions, a consulting firm Vanessa adored. They talked numbers. Bonuses. Promotions. I listened. One man leaned back and asked casually, so Evelyn, which company are you with again? I met his eyes. Harrison and Cole. The table went quiet, then erupted in laughter. No, seriously, he said. Like, which department? Admin? Another added, hey, nothing wrong with starting small. Starting small. I folded my napkins slowly, heart steady. I don't work in a department. Consultant, someone guessed, contractor? Intern, another joked. Mark shot me a warning look. Please don't, it said. That look broke something in me. I'm surprised, the tall man said, swirling his drink, that Mark never mentioned what you do. Guess it's not that impressive. I smiled. A calm one. The kind you give right before a storm breaks. Actually, I said, it's probably better if I show you. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. A few taps. Then I placed it face up on the table. The screen displayed a familiar logo. Harrison and Cole Solutions, Board Access PRTL. Their smiles froze. That's internal, one woman said slowly. Yes, I replied. It is. The tall man frowned. How do you have that? I looked around the table, meeting each pair of eyes, one by one, because, I said evenly, I founded the holding company that acquired Harrison and Cole 6 years ago. Silence crashed down like broken glass. Someone laughed nervously. That's not funny. I'm not joking. I tapped the screen again. Financials appeared. Names. Salaries, their names. I've stayed off the public site by choice, I continued. No interviews. No features. I don't enjoy attention. Vanessa stood up from her table across the room. Sensing something wrong, Mark stared at me like he was seeing a stranger. The tall man's face went pale. You're that Carter? Yes. The room felt smaller now. Air heavier. I didn't come here to embarrass anyone, I said quietly. But you decided to make assumptions about me. Someone whispered, oh my God. Vanessa rushed over. What's going on? I stood. Congratulations on your engagement, I said to her gently. And by the way, your entire bridal party reports to me. The laughter didn't return. Not this time. You can hear respect arrive before it speaks. The chairs shifted. People stood straighter. Voices dropped. Vanessa's smile trembled. Evelyn, is this true? Mark finally found his voice. You own Harrison and Cole? I nodded. Among others. He ran a hand through his hair, stunned. Why didn't you ever tell me? I swallowed. You never asked. That truth hung between us, heavy and unresolved. The tall man, now visibly sweating, cleared his throat. I'm sorry if we came off as disrespectful. I finished for him. You did. Around us, guests pretended not to stare. But everyone listened. I spent years being the nothing sister, I continued. Not because I was nothing, but because I didn't perform success for an audience. Vanessa crossed her arms. So you just let people think less of you? Yes, I said. Because it showed me who they really were. Her friends avoided my gaze now. One woman whispered, are we in trouble? I shook my head. Not tonight. Relief washed over their faces until I added, but tomorrow? We'll be having conversations about workplace culture. Mark stepped closer. You didn't have to do this here. You're right, I said softly. But they didn't have to mock me either. He looked down. Shame flickered, then something unexpected happened. Vanessa exhaled and said, I owe you an apology. The room stilled. I judged you, she admitted. I assumed quiet meant insignificant. I studied her for a moment. Then nodded. Apology accepted. Not everyone deserved forgiveness, but growth always deserves space. The rest of the night moved differently. Conversations were careful. Compliments suddenly sincere. People who ignored me earlier now wanted introductions. I declined most of them. Near the end of the evening, Mark pulled me aside onto the balcony. City lights stretched endlessly behind him. I'm proud of you, he said quietly. I just wish I'd known you better. So do I replied. He stood there, siblings finally equal. The distance between us no longer filled with misunderstanding, but possibility. Power didn't change who I was. It only revealed who everyone else had been. I left the engagement party early, not because I felt unwelcome, but because I didn't need the room anymore. Outside, the city hummed. Taxis passed. Laughter drifted from nearby bars. Life moved on, indifferent to revelations and status shifts. My phone buzzed. A message from Mark, dinner next week? Just us, I smiled. Yes, another message came in, from the board, handled with grace. Proud of you. I slipped the phone back into my purse and kept walking. Here's the thing about power no one tells you. The real victory isn't watching people apologize, it's knowing you never needed their approval in the first place. They mocked me because they thought value had a uniform, loud, flashy, male-coded, aggressive. Let them believe that, because the woman who owns the room doesn't need to announce it, she only needs to stand still long enough for the truth to catch up. That night didn't change my life. It changed how others saw me, and sometimes, that's enough to change everything.